Have you ever noticed how quickly we decide to dislike someone just because they belong to a different political group? It is as if we see a color or a label and our brains immediately shut a door. We live in a world that feels more divided than ever. We are often pushed into corners by the screens in our pockets and the news on our televisions. It feels like a constant battle where we must choose a side and stay there. But what if the way we look at people who think differently is fundamentally broken? Today we are going to look at the hidden mechanics of human connection in a world that tries to keep us apart. Most of us think that the main problem in our society today is a difference of opinion. We believe that if we just had better facts or more logical arguments we could fix everything. This is what we might call the surface concept of our modern conflict. We see two people from different parties and we think they are naturally enemies because their ideas do not match. We focus on the policy papers and the loud debates on social media. We think the goal is to change the other person's mind through force or shame. But if we look closer we see that this focus on ideas is actually a distraction. The real issue is not what we think but how we see each other as human beings. When we reduce a person to a political label we stop seeing their life. We forget that they have a spouse and children and worries just like we do. We forget that they might care about their community just as much as we care about ours. There is a hidden assumption that we must agree with someone in order to respect them or like them. We often feel that if we spend time with someone from the other side we are betraying our own team. We assume that a difference in policy is a difference in character. This belief is what fuels the anger we see online every day. We think that being right is more important than being kind. But this assumption keeps us stuck in a loop of hate that never actually solves any problems. If we look at the structural pattern of how healthy relationships actually work we see something very different. Connection does not come from perfect agreement. It comes from shared experiences and a willingness to see the humanity in another person. Imagine two leaders from opposite sides of the country traveling together to a foreign land to study a new school system. In that space they are not just a blue person and a red person. They are two humans trying to find a better life for the citizens they serve. They talk about their families and their hopes. They see that their goals are often the same even if their methods are different. This pattern shows us that proximity is the enemy of polarization. When we spend time in the same room with people who think differently the walls begin to crumble. We find that it is actually refreshing to debate an idea without attacking the person behind it. We can disagree without being disagreeable. This brings us to a complete reframing of how we should lead our lives. Instead of trying to win every argument we should try to lead with curiosity. The goal is not to change everyone's point of view to match our own. The goal is to bring the humanity back into the room. We need to ask ourselves if we are being driven by the anger of the crowd or by our own sense of empathy. When we choose to like someone despite our differences we are doing something revolutionary. We are proving that human connection is stronger than any political label. This is a new perspective that values the person over the policy. It suggests that our relationships are the true foundation of a strong society. How do we apply this to our daily lives when everything feels so heated? It starts with the small choices we make. The next time you see someone post an opinion that makes your blood boil, try to pause. Instead of typing a mean comment, try to imagine that person sitting at their kitchen table with their children. Try to think about the things they might care about that have nothing to do with politics. Maybe they are a great parent or a hard worker. We can choose to spend time with people who do not think like us. We can go on a walk or share a meal with a neighbor who has a different flag in their yard. When we do this we are practicing the art of being human in a digital world. We are moving away from the loud corners and into the quiet center where real life happens. It takes courage to be the one who listens first. It takes strength to stay kind when others are being loud. But the reward is a life that feels more balanced and less lonely. We find that the world is not just a battleground but a community of people who are mostly just trying their best. This deepening of our connections allows us to build bridges that can survive the storms of politics. We begin to see that a healthy society needs different points of view to find the best solutions. Just as a forest needs many kinds of trees to stay healthy, a democracy needs many kinds of voices. We can learn to love the diversity of thought rather than fearing it. We can find joy in the fact that we do not all see the world the same way. This is not about giving up on what you believe. It is about believing that the person across from you is worthy of your kindness regardless of their vote. If we can master this one simple thing, we can change the temperature of our entire world. It starts in our homes and in our neighborhoods. It starts with the way we talk to our friends about the people we disagree with. It is a slow and steady work of rebuilding trust, one conversation at a time. This path is not easy because the voices of anger are very loud, but it is the only path that leads to a peaceful future. We must decide if we want to be right or if we want to be together. When we look at the faces of the people we have been told to hate, can we find the courage to see a neighbor, a parent, or a friend instead of just an opponent? If you knew that your most hated political enemy cared just as deeply about their children's future as you do about your own, would you still be able to find a reason to sit down and talk with them?